What's up guys, Hownish here, and today I wanted to jump in and talk about the new raid mods that came in the January update for Destiny 2. So there are a handful of new raid mods which do some pretty cool stuff inside of the Leviathan raid. I'm going to break all of the slot mods down, talk about some stuff that you can do with them, and give some general impressions. So on any raid helmet, it's the same for Leviathan or the Eater of Worlds, you will find Empowering Largesse, which is for arc damage, Radiant Largesse, which is for solar damage, and Embrace Largesse, which is for void damage. And the description reads, while on the Leviathan, activating a super, depending on the element that you've chose, will recharge your grenade. So this one is extremely basic, nothing super flashy, but you know, it's essentially a freebie. When you pop your super, you'll get an additional grenade charge, so can't really complain about it. That one's pretty self-explanatory, but for gauntlets, and these are the same on every class or character that you can run, but for gauntlets you do have Striking Hand. While on the Leviathan, your melee kills increase all damage by 20%. We have Shielding Hand, while on Leviathan your melee kills reduce incoming damage by 20%, and then we also have Giving Hand, where your melee kills have a chance to make enemies drop power ammo. So with Striking Hand, when you make a melee kill, it will increase all of the damage that you output from your character by 20%, and this effect actually lasts for 10 seconds, so it comes up on the side of the screen when you're using it. So obviously as soon as you make a melee kill, you will get the damage bonus, and this can be used in some pretty interesting ways. It's generally good for crowd control, you know, you get a melee kill, you've got bonus weapon grenade damage, but you can also use it for DPS in certain situations as well. You know, if you're kind of fighting Callus, you can melee a dog just before you jump onto the plate, and you will get that 20% bonus damage. Shielding Hand feels like the slightly less exciting version of this, although having said that, you know, reducing incoming damage when you make melee kills does actually synergize pretty well. It could be especially good if you're running like a Sentinel build or something like that, but Giving Hand to just generally, you know, increases the chance to get power ammo drop when you make melee kills. So in this clip, I basically get full rocket launcher ammo from killing the adds on one of the plates in the Gauntlet. Obviously you're going to have to focus on actually making those melee kills, but there are numerous situations where you can actually do it. So pretty good mods all in all right there. The chest piece will just have one mod available, and this is called Heavy Hitter. While on Leviathan, using power weapons to defeat challenging enemies will boost your power weapon damage by 15% for a short time, and challenging enemies is basically any of the yellow bar enemies. So if you make a kill with a heavy weapon on one of those, then you are going to get that 10 seconds of 15% bonus damage with your heavy weapons. This one's a little bit of a mixed bag. It could be pretty good with Merciless if you're using it to tackle multiple, you know, powerful enemies. Much more situational in general, but it's still a pretty cool mod. Boots will also come with one mod available, and this is called Energized. While on the Leviathan, using energy weapons to defeat normal enemies will boost your energy weapon damage by 15% for a short time. So once again, this is a 10-second timer, and the bonus damage with Energized is absolutely fantastic. If you're using an energy auto rifle or anything that can deal with multiple enemies, then getting this bonus damage on the first kill is going to be really beneficial. Once again, lasting for 10 seconds, so it lasts longer than, you know, perks like crowd control and things like that would. It's basically 100% free damage, so that's pretty awesome. Class items though will come with Emperor's Shock, Emperor's Blaze, or Emperor's Balance, and while on the Leviathan, your elemental damage ability will deal 25% more damage. So of course you'll run Void with a Void subclass, Solar with a Solar subclass, and so on. And once again, this is just very generally a very good mod. Anything that you're putting out, you know, your grenades and melees, throwing knives, all of your super abilities get 25% more damage, so it is very strong. The other thing to point out about all of these mods is that they can stack. So, you know, I'm running right here bonus arc damage, so I'm getting bonus damage on my arc abilities anyway. I also get a melee kill on one of the dogs before we jump on the plate, so I've got Striking Hand as well as Emperor's Shock running at the same time. These do stack, so with a little bit of thought, you know, and a little bit of consideration of what these things do, you can stack them together. You'll find multiple instances and encounters where they are pretty beneficial, and overall I think they've done a very good job in the design, the sandbox element of these mods. It's worth saying, when you actually equip a raid mod from the selection, it will replace any mod that you currently have equipped on that piece of gear. So if you have a power munition loader on your class item or something, and then you replace it with Emperor's Balance, you're going to lose the power munition loader mod. And with the raid mods, they're always available on the pieces of gear, so you can just select one at any time. But if you want to go back to a normal mod, you will have to go through the normal process of getting the mod and then paying Glimmer to apply it. And if you switch back in future, it will once again be lost. So I don't think that's necessarily the most elegant way to deal with this. I said a similar thing about Masterwork armor, but I would really like to see an additional mod slot actually open up on some of these pieces of gear, you know? Even though the raid mods are incredibly strong, I feel like they could have a raid mod slot on the piece of gear and then a normal mod slot, and that would of course also alleviate the problem of having to change, you know, mods backwards and forwards if you wanted to use the raid gear in other types of content. Before I give any more impressions though, I wanted to just show you guys the new exotic ghost shell for the raid. So it's called the Contender shell. One of us managed to get it on our second raid completion. This can drop from normal and prestige clears of the final boss in Eater of Worlds and the Leviathan. But it comes with 3 bonuses. We have Seeker of Glory, tracks the number of encounters on the Leviathan that you have defeated. We also have Seeker of Brilliance. In addition to their normal rewards, encounters on the Leviathan can award bright engrams. This chance increases each time no bright engram drops. And then we have Seeker of Opulence. Exotic drops from encounters on Leviathan have a 50% chance of being an exotic not already in your collection. So pretty cool bonuses. Definitely nice that we finally get a cosmetic item like this actually dropping from, you know, something like the raid. And you can even see the encounter tracker right there, even if it's not actually your ghost shell, which is pretty cool. So I really do want to pick one of these up myself, and I'm hoping that in future they can, you know, absolutely flood the loot table with these kind of items in future raids, you know, exclusive loot tied to prestige nightfalls or nightfalls activities in general. You guys know what I'm saying. This stuff should be everywhere in the game, but I'm glad they finally added a raid ghost. But in terms of power and how good these mods are, I think personally that they're pretty fantastic. I feel like all of the melee focused mods are really, really cool. They offer, you know, quite a lot of power and a lot of potential for different builds. The same with the energize bonus on the boots. That is just extremely strong. Also the class item, you know, generally is extremely strong. It's always working for you as well whenever you're using any of your abilities. The 2 which excite me perhaps a little bit less would be the chest piece armor mod, the one that gives you bonus damage on your heavy weapons when you kill challenging enemies. This one is generally one which is a little bit more difficult to utilize and get, you know, real benefits from, but it is going to have its moments. And then the helmet mods that give you your grenade back, not super exciting, but they do a thing, you know. Getting a free grenade just because you've popped your super is nothing to complain about in my opinion. So the power element of this is really, really cool, and I'm personally hoping this is a bit of a hint towards what we might see in mods 2.0, which is going to affect the game much more broadly than what we've seen in this particular update. If the kind of sandbox angle that they're taking and the things that they want to do are similar with those mods, then I think mods could actually, you know, become vastly more impressive across the game over the next couple of months. The single biggest downside of the introduction of raid mods for me personally is that they are already applied to the pieces of gear. And this is a bit of a double-edged sword, you know, because if they'd have put this update in and we had to actually get the raid mods dropped, it would have meant that it'd take us much longer to get our heads around how powerful they are. And I think Bungie wanted us to see that they are pretty strong. And that could be part of the reason that these mods are pre-applied or already available on these pieces of gear. In the future, I would love to see these mods actually dropping in the raids, you know, added to the loot table. In short, I think the biggest downside is that there is no progression which came alongside these particular mods, at least if you already have all of the armor. You know, if you're still grinding for the armor from the raid, then I think it's okay. But outside of that, I think these are incredibly strong, and I think they are a very solid step forward. I'm really hoping mods 2.0 will bring some of these kind of level of changes to the more generic system for mods in the game, which will affect a lot more players, and I think it will potentially make the game much more interesting. If you're running the raid regularly, these raid mods are absolutely fantastic. So those are my thoughts on the new raid mods, guys. Once again, a very solid beginning, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I hope you have enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, a like is very much appreciated. Also, be sure to check out my sponsor in the description box below. Gamerlink have the #1 LFG and clan app on Android and iOS, so if you're looking for people to play Destiny with, build persistent teams, you can use the app and the LFG, which is pretty useful, especially if you want to jump into the raid. Also, if you use my link down below, you will get a custom Houndish badge that you can use on your profile on the app, so it's pretty neat, and all of those details will be in the description. But if you are new to the channel and you want to see more Destiny 2 content, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And another final thing I wanted to throw into the end of this video, I do have a quick poll that I'd be curious to you guys to kind of let me know your thoughts on. Basically, I just want to get your opinions on random roles inside of Destiny 2. Do you think it should be a thing in the game, or do you think that fixed roles is the better approach? If you have an opinion on that, I do have a poll linked below, and I'd really appreciate it if you could vote on it. I'm just kind of curious to see what what you guys think. It's a subject I want to talk about later on this week. So that would be highly appreciated. For now though, I appreciate you watching and I'll catch you very soon.